Hello, Keith here with Math Fun and Games. We're doing MBT from GMT Games. I'm doing the first scenario, and I'm going to do actually it's the second scenario that adds leg units to the first scenario. I'm going to leave out the anti-tank guided missiles because that's specific to MBT, and I want to keep this as simple as possible and also have rules that could be used with that are common with Panzer, the game Panzer too. So if you've seen my previous videos, I'm using the same setup. We're just adding some elements here. So over here for the NATO forces, you see these vehicles right here. There are 4 tracked vehicles. They're M113s. It's kind of a very flat vehicle. They each have a squad in them, and that squad carries a light anti-tank weapon, the M72. And there's 4 of those. Down here, remember the stacking limit is you can stack 5 vehicles in a hex safely. Down here, I have 4 vehicles. 3 of these are Russian squad. They're BTR 70s, each carrying a Russian squad. And they have RPG 22s as their anti-tank weapon. And the last vehicle has a section which has a heavy machine gun in it. I've also changed the rules as far as the victory point objectives. I took this little town on the left that's pretty much almost between the 2 forces, and I've added 2 victory point hexes in the center of it. And in order to get points for those, you have to have an infantry unit in one of those, one or both of those. So they're going to be fighting for control of that city too. I haven't assigned an exact amount of victory points I give to those two buildings yet, but they're there and they're going to affect the game. All right, so the first thing we do is we roll spawning phase. Nobody can see anybody else. Command phase, everybody gets a move command. Rolling the dice. Initiative phase. I'm going to roll for the Soviets first. They roll a 14, and the NATO rolls an 81. NATO moves first. I'm going to start over here on the left. So the movement rate for this unit is 11. Move this down a bit. I'm just going to move forward 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then 11. And I'm going very quickly now. Oops. So I'm not going to go over the rules for movement. Because I covered those in the first time playthrough in this game and in the second time. So see those other videos. So things that are covered in those other videos, I'm not going to cover as much here. Also, there's a link in the description to the MBT rules. I highlighted in the table of contents those rules I'm using, advanced rules I'm using in this game, and specifically the rules I added to from the previous games I played, I've highlighted in green. So these units are moving together, and they're going to be right behind him. So that's the same move I pretty much did in the first 2 games, maybe. Yep, right here. But no, things are going to change, particularly for the Russians. Okay, so these tracks right here, these command tracks, I'm going to move him first. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These units right here have row movement rate of 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And I believe that's 10 up to there. And these 2 units follow them. These are M60A3s. Okay, next over here on this hill, I'm just going to get as many units up here on this hill as I can. He's going to go here, he's going to go and turn and face that way, and he's going to be up there. Over here, these units right here, I'm going to move them as a group. Forward 5 hexes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right here. These units, these are the ones, the 113s. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's going to go there. This unit's going to turn and go 1, 2, 3, 4. And he's going to go right there. 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So these units would naturally be doing the turns and that, but I am not. I'm going to go just try to go a little bit more quickly. These units right here, they're headed for the town. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's see, and they can move 7, 5, 6, and 7. So they're doing really well in the race to get to that town over there. These units right here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Just gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So in this game, the Russians are going to do, well, this Russian-Soviet, same thing. They're going to do something a little bit different. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and rotate. And these two are going to do the same. And this unit's going to do the same. So they're just taking the high ground. Now there is a complication here that I just remembered. I got to make sure I don't have more than 5. Stacking limit's 5. Now as far as firing between these hills is concerned, right? I'll just put a line of sight marker over there and show you what we're doing. Okay, so as far as firing like from here over to here, it's going to be affected by, if you look right there, 4U9, that's level 4 height. So that's going to be blocking terrain. So it's going to affect the line of sights between these two hills, and I don't know if the top of these two hills can be seen from each other because of that terrain. So you might need to have some changes here as far as what these units are doing. Because see, that goes right, I'm pretty sure it goes through that. I'm gonna have to take a closer look. Let's take a closer look and see if that actually cuts through that level 4 heavy woods hex. Really close, but let's go closer. Yeah, it does. So it goes right through that level 4. So those units on the hill now, even though last game I said that those treetops were level 3 and those units on the hill could fire at each other, those units on those hills cannot fire at each other. So that changes things considerably. So now the Russians are going to move. Russians are finishing off their movement phase. Well, their command, the move. Oh, 8, and this guy can go 14. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, because he's going to have to turn 2 hex sides. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and then to face the road forward, he's going to have to change 2 hex sides, so it's going to be right there. And these units are going to follow him. So rather than going to the left in this this time, these units are gonna go forward. Well, the Russians are gonna put everything into taking that town. And the NATO forces are going to put everything into, well, they're going to do a more balanced attack. NATO forces are going to try to capture all these bridge hex sites. So NATO forces are going to push throughout the entire board. I think that's it. So the Russians, these units are going to go down here, down this hill. They're going to go down this path, and they're going to end up trying to help out their forces in the town, which are these guys are going forward into the town. And I might even have, because these guys at the center of the hill, I might even have them go battle it out for the town. Meanwhile, the Americans are going to do a push for even push pretty much across the board for these river crossings and also for this town. So it's going to be a little bit different strategies from both sides. The Russians are going to push heavily for the town initially, and the Americans or the NATO forces are going to be pushing across the entire board. And I think that's it. Okay, well, that's the first turn. We're going to be going on to the second turn. Again, things are going to be a little bit different. There's going to be victory points for this town over here. And there's still going to be victory points for these crossings, and there's victory points for eliminating your enemy units. We're going to have now leg units into the game. We're going to have, and these leg units are going to have anti-tank weapons, which fire just like any other kinetic energy weapons, pretty much, or chemical explosives. I'm not using the dragon or the spigot or there's another one the Russians have. I'm not going to be using those because that's anti-tank guided missiles, and that the rules are a little bit different, and that's specific to modern warfare and more specific to MBT. And I want to stick to the rules that apply to this game and Panzer. Now, I'm going to play a game further down the line where I do add in anti-tank guided missiles, and I want to add in modern aircraft, helicopters, and jets. But those right there are specific to MBT. Panzer and MBT are the same system, but MBT has a lot more things added on to it because it covers modern warfare. All right, I thank you very much for this short video. Very short, quick turn. Like I said, things are going to speed up a little bit. I'm only going to slow down when I cover new rules. I'm going to slow down, particularly in working with the leg units in this particular case. Thank you, and have a good day. I'll see you for the next episode.